Happy Thursday, folks. How's everybody doing today? I'm going to take that to mean that everybody is currently on the beach or that my microphone is muted. Hopefully my microphone is muted.
Yeah, your microphone's muted. That's all. Jory looks pretty badass, though.
Oh, hi. I'm outside in the South End because my daughter is at camp. And so when your children are at camp conveniently in the middle of the workday, you too, as a remote employee, are at camp at some restaurant's unused patio, trimming their Wi-Fi. So
Yes.
But still with the awesome background. It
Yeah,
fits.
it's a great
yeah, I do
background.
still have my well, otherwise it would be like parked cars and traffic and stuff like that. I mean, I guess I could stop the background.
I'm liking it. It's good.
You liked that? Okay, all right, cool. Well,
Yeah.
we'll leave it on. I mean, it's not, there's a kind of like a street. It's not,
I mean, you're turning to look at it, and I'm sure you're looking at the real background to try to decide if you want to show it. But to us, it looks like you're looking at this really awesome, like, graffiti wall.
Yeah, really. It's like you got a green screen. It's perfect.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll leave it on. Yeah, I guess it's true. I'm not actually looking at the image, so I'm looking at the chairs, the empty tables and chairs behind me. But yeah, I've
I think
worked
it's too small
from.
in mine, but that's a really awesome ship right there that's parked under the sunrise.
It's so tiny. I can see that it's a ship now that you've pointed at it because I can see that it's like not quite on the horizon line. So anyway, what kind of ship is it? A boat.
It was like a double-masted tall ship, like old-fashioned
Oh,
tall ship out there in the same
yeah.
anchorage that I was at. I came in at night and I saw this thing lit up, and I'm like, I got some like pirate ship master and commander vibes going on out here right now.
They do the tall ships in Boston periodically. You know, I think it's maybe every few years, and I just think they're so cool. They're so cool. I don't
It
want to be
was,
on one, but I like looking at them.
I think they had a bunch of kids on there. It was like a local camp or something like that, and so they had brought this in, and they were going off doing little adventures around the anchorage. Okay, we didn't have a lot to chat about today, so I'm happy to chat about chit chat stuff. I had a few things on the review list, and so Mike, you can look at some of these. Looking to see if we got anybody else around here. I think it's just you that can review any of them, but they're all sitting out there in the HackMD that we don't technically have control over, but we can do whatever we want in there. We just can't stop anybody else from doing whatever they want in there. Yeah, so we got that going on. And we can look over them individually if you like to, Mike, or you can look at them as you have time on your side. Ask questions if you need to.
Looking over.
Okay. I'm also seeing we got a new face here, Isa. Not sure if you had anything you wanted to bring to the meeting. Otherwise, we just have an open agenda today, so no
Hello,
fixed items.
hello. Yeah,
Welcome.
yeah, thank you very much. We are new to this community, so in the end, if we will have time, I just have some couple of questions.
Go for it.
Thank you. I can ask this now or
Yeah,
in the
we
end of
have
the meeting?
nothing fixed on our agenda. We have a couple of items that need a review, the Mike's kind of looking over now. We don't have any other maintainers that can review them. So
Oh,
unless he stops, I say go ahead.
okay. Thank you. Thank you. So I have asked this question in Slack channel. We want to bring back the VTPM support for ANSI, and we want just to ask and became a little bit clear with the process, how we should to deal with this, and then start to contribute.
I wonder if Tianon has any opinions there.
It might surprise you that I'm not a run C maintainer.
But aren't you a runtime maintainer?
I am a maintainer on the runtime spec.
That's like halfway there.
Almost, yeah.
So I know that when you ask that, my best guess is that opening an issue up over on the run C repo will probably get you the easiest response from that team. I think a lot of them tend
Yeah,
to work
so
offline.
we opened issue, and the next step we can propose runtime spec patch, right?
So are you looking at on runtime spec or are you looking at on run C? Because
No, we also rely on runtime spec too. I mean, we should adjust, enhance runtime spec first, and propose a run C patch.
So I think if you're looking for the runtime spec change, Tianon might be the best person here to give you a comment on that. If you're looking for a run C change, an issue, and I would say any other case an issue over there, a lot of them tend to be pretty good about responding to issues on those repos, or better responding on issues in the repos than they are about joining this meeting. I'll put it that way. With
Okay,
with the good exception of Tianon.
Okay, so we open the issue, and okay, we will wait for some replies first. Okay, I got it.
Generally, with runtime spec PRs, they do like to see at least a proof of concept implementation PR for run C to prove that what you're proposing to the spec actually works and does make sense, and run C can use it as a rough analog for whether or not other runtimes can also do so successfully.
Okay, so we will make two pull requests on time. Okay.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Okay, good, thanks.
Tianon, I'm not sure how. Well, I'll just ask the question. Do they have a kind of a circular dependency over there on the runtime side where they're looking for an implementation to make a spec change, but the run C is looking for a spec change to make an implementation change?
I would say it's more of a symbiotic relationship where they're typically made in concert. It's not so much a circle as it is like they're, I don't know how to explain it better. Run C is typically updated every time the spec is, and personally, as a runtime spec maintainer, I'm not merging anything to the runtime spec that run C maintainers aren't comfortable with. That's one of my core review criteria, in fact, is making sure that the run C maintainers feel comfortable with the change and comfortable with their abilities to implement it. I'd love to get more maintainers in that list, and we do have some. The runtime spec is surprisingly active and has a pretty good representation across several runtimes, so it works out pretty well in practice. I think the set of runtimes, actual runtimes that are actively maintained, is a lot smaller than the set of things that might mutate or touch or use an image in some way.
Yeah, follow some of their issues and PRs over there, and it's refreshing seeing that they get a lot of participation from a lot of different groups and get things merged. Sometimes I envy that.
Yeah, and in my experience, the RunC maintainers care a great deal about other runtimes.
Is that a dig at distribution spec maintainers?
It is not intentionally. I would say if the shoe fits, but I didn't mean it that way. Feel free to wear it.
So Isa, does that give you some good direction to work with? And am I saying your name right too? Feel free to correct me there.
Yeah. Now I'm clear. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else we can help you with today?
Actually, there are no questions from my side. Yeah, we will prepare a patch and propose it first.
I'm also seeing Ephraim here. I'm not sure if you've joined as much, and if I'm saying your name right. Are there any agenda items you'd like to chat about today?
Efim, do you hear us? He's from my team. Yeah.
He is?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So looking over
So
581,
what's that, Mike?
just looking over 581, chunked header push.
Mm-hmm.
It seems obvious to me, or maybe it's not obvious, that the other types of ranging for within blob would be just handled by HTTP request, right? For the
So-
window of the file being moved, the chunked file being moved, right?
So this is the other times of ranging is if you're doing a request. This is if you're doing a push
Right.
that we're dealing with.
Well, the push has a receive side. I wasn't sure if it was on the server or the client.
This is the server
This is for
response
a
to a
push.
chunked push.
Right, right. And there it made sense. What I was saying was that the only reason you would be indicating which byte you are in between, right, in that side of that chunk would be if you were handling some element of the HTTP request response.
So the main reason we have for that range response to the client is, in particular, if the server and the client get out of sync, it's nice to be able to have that to come back so the client can,
Right, the chunks
Resync
can be out of sync, right?
you can have an interruption in the connection or something like that, and then the client needs to figure out where the server leave off, because otherwise you can't resume in the middle of a push if something breaks in the middle. That's not specifically this one though. This one is more just the server saying, hey, you sent me 1,000 bytes, I'm now at 1,000. You sent me the next 1,000 bytes, now I'm now at 2,000. It's just a extra check in there for the client to know that the server's really talking about the same place that you are. But I'm
But you just said, do you mean within the chunk or within the blob? We're indicating
So-
it's the first byte and the last byte of the chunk in the blob is the way it reads to me.
So the way it's supposed to be, let me get the sharing going here. I was trying to, and then it did something funny. So the phrasing we put in here for this one was trying to say that the end range location there is the last upload byte of the blob. And so we're trying to distinguish, there were people that were looking at this originally and thinking that they were just supposed to give you the range of each individual chunk. And so if you send them 1,000 bytes and then you just send them another 1,000 bytes the second one, it would say, hey, I got bytes 0 through 1,000 again. And they might be like, wait, I thought I sent you 2,000 bytes now with the second chunk, second 1,000 bytes in there. you're telling me you only got 1,000. We're now not talking about the same thing. And so making sure that they both interpret the end range the same, make sure that the client and the server are talking the same language together.
Yeah, it is the example on line 375 only shows the range going from 0 to the end of the range of the chunk, which is a particular location in the blob, right?
So each
It only shows the
chunk,
one example. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't show a subsequent chunk.
so all the subsequent chunks are going to have the same range format.
0 to end of range.
0 to the end of the blob. So not the end of the chunk. So if every one of your chunks is 1,000 bytes, there are two ways to read this. Either this is 0 to 1,000 or 0 to 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. With each chunk, you increment that. And what we're saying here is the way to read this is that it's the latter case. You go 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. You don't say 0 to 1,000 every single response.
Right. So the second one would be 1001 to 2000. Is that what you're saying?
Nope.
Or
You're,
nope.
You've already received 0 in the blob, overall blob. And so your range response is saying, hey, I've already got 0, but now I'm up to 2,000. Or I've already received 0 to 3,000 now. And so you're telling the client from the server perspective, I've received this part of the blob overall.
You're telling the client on the push.
So yeah, the client is doing the push. The client thinks it sent you 3 chunks, and you're just saying, yep, I got all 3 chunks.
On the response from the server requesting. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
On line 360, it says the first chunk's range must begin with 0. It doesn't say all chunks range must begin with 0. So
Yeah,
the way you're
that's a valid
explaining
criticism.
the way you're explaining it, it's like I don't quite see the example. If we could just show, I think in here, what the second chunk is going to look like, or,
Okay.
you know what I mean? Just say,
Yeah,
for each one, do
It's-
this might help.
it'll look like
First-
this
First, second, and the
because
last. A first, second, and the last. If they're all
Yeah.
going to be the same, that would be fair.
they will all start at 0. It's only the last value in there
Only
that's
the
gonna
end of
change.
range value.
Yeah.
It's confusing that you're using the end of range inside of the blob, but the beginning of the range is always 0.
Okay, so I misspoke there.
Or each individual chunk. You know what I'm saying?
So I misspoke there because I'm just rereading this now. This part here is the client sending.
Right.
This is the client saying, I'm about to send you bytes 1,000 through 2,000.
Ah, right.
This
That's what I
second-
was expecting you to say. Okay.
Okay.
One
So
more
this
example
second
here
one-
showing 2000 to 3 would be, or 1000 to 2000 is pretty much all you need. Right?
This down here is the response. So the server gives you the response to the 202 with these headers. And so the header always has a 0 because you always start at 0. And then the end of the range, we define, we're saying this is the end of the range of the overall blob, not of the individual chunk.
Okay.
So yeah, we've got the request up here. And then down here, this is the response.
So I guess, yeah, I get it. It's a little confusing.
This is why I
Yeah.
want to rewrite the entire spec to look a little bit more.
It's a little, yeah, I mean, I get it.
I really want to rewrite the entire spec to be more specific about request response in every one of our APIs because this stuff happens.
Yeah. So I guess another comment, maybe a because on line 380, because the inner range is the entire blob, not the particular chunk. In the response from the server, it's not actually giving us a header response for the particular chunks. It's rather for the entire push. It's a little bit confusing.
Yeah, if there's phrasing you want to see changed there, I would say
Yeah, I know.
put
Give
a
give you
request.
an edit. Yeah.
Yeah, give
It's
me an
got to be
edit. That'll help
something.
me.
There's got to be some. Yeah. Gotta be
The one
something.
thing I'm hoping that we helped with was we put it in the conformance, or we actually check that on the second blob to make sure that that second number there is the overall blob -1 because it's inclusive, not exclusive.
Yeah, this is tough. You would have expected for a particular chunk's response to have received a header for the range that was indicated for that particular chunk, instead of from 0 to the end of the blob for that particular chunk.
Rom would agree with you. The distribution developers would not. So
Fair
this is
enough.
where it came up.
This is where it came up. Okay.
And the distribution developers preceded, so they won on oldness of code.
Well, that happens a lot. So that's probably the kind of thing that needs to be said here then. And I'll put an edit in that basically says, because of legacy reasons, each chunk will respond with the overall range of the blob, not any particular details of any of the chunks. Something to that effect. I'll wordsmith it, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, if you've got phrasing in there.
You clarified the answer, but there's no why. You know what I mean? Okay.
The answer is because.
Yeah, I know. Because that's what
we have said so.
Because we said
we said so.
Okay.
All right. Someone could always go to the git blame and then pull up the PR and maybe see some conversation around this, but there's not a lot.
The git blame where? This is probably legacy in detail.
Well, once this PR gets merged, it would git blame to come back to this PR.
To this PR. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we do say that, hey, we got this. And then we kind of phrase it out here that different people interpret this differently.
Yeah, in the issue it did. Yeah. Okay. Actually, it doesn't really say. The why's not there either.
Well, it says, we got different implementations interpreting that last uploaded byte different ways.
Right.
And distribution project went one way.
Yep.
And then
I still know why. Never mind. You understand what I'm saying.
The why is because someone before me picked it. And I'm just matching their response.
That's the part that that's what I'll try to edit in. All right. Thanks, man.
Yep.
Fun. Oops.
And Ram has kindly updated Zot, so we no longer have this disagreement. So now everybody's got the same implementation.
Yeah, right. So I noted that. Yeah, that's cool.
Thanks, Ram. I appreciate that.
But it would have been better. Never mind.
Well, there is a value to this. And the value is that it also matches the GET response. If you ever get out of sync, something goes wrong between the client and the server, you don't have a location header to send your next request to. And so you do a GET request and you just say, hey, where are you at, server? And the server comes back and says, here's your next location. Here's the current range. And that current range is for the overall blob and the GET response.
Is that already
now the client
written down?
knows what to do.
Was that already written down?
That's already been in there. I had to look at the
somewhere
text
else.
to me.
Okay, maybe a link to that part. Yeah.
Well, I have to go look at the text to see if we phrased it properly there, because you know how our spec can be sometimes.
Yes, sir. Okay, thanks.
Well, let me see if I can find that real quick, because I don't want to claim that we're doing something we're not doing here. Upload a chunk patch. Each successive. The put request. After a 416 error, you do a get. You get a location. And the range is the end of the range.
But not the same end of range.
It is the same end of range, but we just don't phrase it the same
It
here.
says end of range of chunk. It
No,
says +1, which is the
the
end
following
of the
chunk upload should use that provided. And then the end of the range is the value of the last uploaded byte. Doesn't say last uploaded byte within the blob, but
right. It says +1, which sort of indicates that the end of range is always going to be the end of the last block. I'm sorry, chunk that was pushed.
well, if it was, then you couldn't resume. You would not be able to use this to resume a request because you would not know where you are.
Which you're not getting from the end of range in the response. You're not
If
getting
the end of the
where you
range is
are.
the end of the range of the overall blob, you know where to resume.
Right.
If it's within a chunk, you have no idea what chunk that is.
Which isn't in the response, the chunk that it is.
Yeah, this is just you ran a GET request to say, server, where are you at? And the server says, here's your new location. Here is the end of the range. Start from that point forward in your push.
In the GET request, this is the push though.
Yeah, this is to get
I'm
the current
reading
status
the
after
push right now.
416.
I'm still reading the push.
So you're up here still.
Yeah, I didn't skip forward. I'm sorry. Let me go to Zoom. You might be showing me something and I missed it.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. I'm
I
in
was
the
on the
Zoom. So
wrong
this,
way. Thanks.
this is the
Sorry.
416 error that the server says,
On
hey,
the GET.
you,
On the GET. Yeah.
you sent me a thing. So this is on the chunk push, to get us.
I see. So the confusing part is on the push. If you keep reading on past the edit, it literally says the end of range is the last uploaded byte right after the edit that we're adding that says it must be the end of the blob. The line above. Yeah.
Well, this is where the issue came from. So this is where we said last uploaded byte can be either the last byte of the chunk or the last byte of the blob. We need to specify which. And so that was where the PR was fixing.
But the PR doesn't say either. It just, never mind. I'll respond in the PR.
Yeah. So the PR changed that from, the last uploaded byte. So change that to last uploaded byte of the blob to be clear about which one it is.
But it's
you're
not
looking at the
both.
next.
Yeah.
But you're looking at that next sentence, so that's why I need to start reading ahead here. Yeah, anytime you're out of order, you'd give this 416. And then the GET request below that we defined can be used to retrieve the current location, the current valid offset and location.
Got it.
And that's
So
what that
if you
was.
keep reading, it makes sense. But as you read it, it doesn't say must though. It just says is. Okay. Yeah.
So a registry must respond with a 416 if you're outside of the normal upload order. But a GET request may, and we even lowercase on that may be used to get that current offset. And then, so that's saying the client could do this if the client want to. They don't have to. They can just error.
But if they don't, they won't know their position. I got it. I
mean, the client errors if the blob upload fails. You'd restart
Right.
from the beginning. That's what most tools do today. They don't have a resume in the middle of a chunked upload.
Okay. I'll read on and make sure they're all linked together.
Yeah, the one thing I'm looking at is here when we define the get response, we do say end of range of the last uploaded byte. So we probably need to say last uploaded byte within the blob of the
In
blob
this case. Well,
on the get response. Yeah,
then how do you get the position?
it's you're looking for the position in the blob. If you're looking for the position in the chunk, that would be worthless. All these positions, the last
Yeah,
uploaded
yeah,
byte
yeah.
is the last uploaded
Okay.
byte of the blob.
So it is the position of the blob in this particular case for that chunk. It's not the end of the blob. I'm sorry. Yes.
It's
the blob.
It's always the end of the range is always end of the range of the blob. It's never the end of the range of the chunk. Even when you do a chunk upload and you say, here's my range within the chunk, you're saying, my range is the beginning and the end of this range within the blob. And so I'm giving you a chunk that starts at position 1001 to goes to 2000.
Okay.
That 2000 is within the overall blob. It's not like a number of bytes within the current chunk.
Right. Confusing.
Yeah, that's where I'm. If there's wording to change, go ahead and throw the edit out there.
I think it needs a more detailed example, right? Is all.
Okay. And the other thing I'm thinking is down here in the get response. Now that you started making me look down this other code, I'm thinking we might want to add an extra line down there. Just repeating the same edit down here, so it's consistent.
Right. Consistently confusing.
Yeah. If we need to throw in a sample in there, we can throw in a sample in there. That's makes perfect sense to me.
That would solve it, I think. Just an example. At least with at least two blobs would probably handle it. Right.
We had at
Sorry,
least two
chunks.
blobs.
Sorry, two chunks up for the blob. Never mind.
We had two chunks in the conformance test, and we never checked the range in there.
That's interesting.
It's like we went through all the trouble, we didn't check it.
Didn't check. Oops.
Everybody passed conformance, and who knows what was happening out there.
You could probably look at the blame on that. Maybe it had it
probably
originally.
Probably me.
Probably was. It probably didn't pass one of the registry. Okay.
I'm thinking we went through all the effort, and they were like, yeah, there's too much to like track down all this stuff, and didn't bother. Oops.
No. Okay. So are you going to add another example, or?
If you like an example, I can just throw the note in there. Please add an example and make the get response consistent, and I'll know what you mean.
Yep. Good. Thanks. Too much fun. NTD, CSID.
I'm guessing he dropped a bit ago, didn't he? He's not here now.
Oh.
He usually has to go at the half hour.
Okay. True.
See, Tunon, you have to make my life like hair pulling over here.
Huh?
And I mean, this is good stuff.
Oh, it's great. There's already a syntax for this, but the spec says they have to be in order.
Well, the spec says pushed chunks have to be in order.
Yeah.
This is pull, so you can potentially say I want to do a bunch of range requests on pulls that are all out of order.
Yeah.
And that would be allowed.
You could. Yeah.
The value of having the pushes in order is people that want to compute the digest on the fly.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, thanks.
I found it interesting that I was looking up the range header syntax and found that there already exists a a multiple ranges syntax, which I'm sure some people on this call knew, but I was not aware of that. And I thought it was enjoyable, so I figured I'd share because it's tangential, but semi-related. We were talking about range headers. And reading a line in the spec that is right next to a line that says chunks have to be uploaded in order. So it's almost related.
No, it's the part I'm looking at is when you don't have the start or the end of the range there. I'm like, you can do that.
Yeah.
Not just the multiple ranges, but the partial, like
Yeah.
semi-defined ranges.
Always have been. If you're just
That's why I
parsing
was
that as a
asking the
hint.
question if we were talking about on standard HTTP pushing of the portions of the chunk, or is this an extra response that we're doing for our spec?
I think a lot of this is spec and not HTTP.
Okay.
Yeah. And our spec doesn't use the bytes equals prefix necessarily
Mhm.
consistently. We've had several
Wait.
long discussions about that.
And there's bytes equals, isn't there also like the unit after the range? So it'll be 0 to 400 bytes, not bytes
Yeah.
equals 0 to 400. Feel like I've seen something like that elsewhere.
Yeah.
It is pretty awesome that curl makes itself into some of these spec references.
Well, to be fair, this is just Mozilla documentation, the MDN, which is the GOAT, but not the spec.
Yeah. But even
MDN
MDN,
is the GOAT. Which, out of curiosity, sorry, I work with the MDN team quite a lot. Is there anything we could be, like I think that if there are changes or edits to this documentation, that we would like to see, I am very confident that the writing team would love to work with the OCI community on,
I think it's the other way around.
Yeah, I
Uh-huh.
was just
The
gonna
OCI
say,
community
like,
is OCI community is looking at their stuff, and we're saying, yeah, we need to take some notes from what they're doing to improve our stuff.
Mm.
can we get that team to come and help us rewrite the spec?
Probably not exactly, but I am very sure that someone would be happy to come and like give some pointers and help. That is interesting. But no, they don't. They can't. Man, I don't know. Actually, let me think about that. Maybe. Never say never. Goonies never say never. So.
I
mean,
don't know how serious TNON is because that would mean a lot of work for us more than likely, and we have to start accepting a bunch of change requests that we need to accept, but do we have time and people that want to do that?
yeah,
Can you afford not to, though? I mean, honestly, I know it's a lot of work, but y'all, this is kind of stuff we got to do to keep, just keep it alive. Saying that out loud.
yeah, it's complicated, TM. One thing you can do for sure is tell them how much we love their docs and how much time we spend reading them live on these calls.
You know what? I will 1000% say, share that with them.
All right, so we beat that one pretty good. Mike, if you got questions on that or others, feel free to send them my way. More than happy to chat about all those. Anything else we'd like to chat about today? Got 15 minutes to go. We can just praise MDN or talk about how we want to rewrite the entire spec to make it more readable. Clarify what part is the request and what part is the response. All right, I'm gonna do the calling once, calling twice thing here. Jeff, how's everything going over on some of the tag stuff? I know we had chatted about needing to get some sample implementation over there, maybe some conformance tests at some point. Is that still kind of back burner on your side?
I was on PTO the last 3 weeks, so I've been trying to get that back, kind of address some of the existing feedback and kind of go from there. We do have an internal implementation and a project that we're trying to open source, so trying to juggle that process at a company, which is not always the fastest of things. Trying to see if we can do, like, if we can experimentally throw this in on Docker Hub itself. Yeah, trying to test that out. I don't have any good timelines, but yeah, trying to pick that up and push that through now that I'm back.
Testing live on Docker Hub is just an all new level of like amazingness.
I mean, it's kind of one of those, like, if it works there, it's probably gonna be fine elsewhere kind of things. I mean, we'll test it in like a staging environment first, of course. I mean, obviously, who wouldn't do that?
Ship it. Cool. Well, unless there's anything else, get folks back another 15 minutes. I think everybody is probably half in vacation mode right now these days, so might enjoy having a little bit of time back. Last call. All right, we'll call it there. Till next week. Thanks for all the reviews there, Mike. I'll get those included right away as soon as we can. And we will circle back here next week.
Circle back.
Have a good one, folks.
Cheers.